Hi, welcome to episode 543 of the Corner of Knit and Tea. My name is Laura. I'm also known as Fluffy Kara over on Instagram and Blue Sky. I blog over at thecornerofknitandtea.com, and that's where this episode and every episode show notes will be. I have an Etsy shop called The Corner of Knit and Tea where I sell my handspun yarn and knitting patterns. Hi, how are you? I hope that you are doing well. It is Monday, October 27th. I can hardly believe we are basically at the end of October already. The weather has been gray and rainy for the last couple days, so definitely fall weather, perfect for spooky season. Halloween is on Friday, and I had a great weekend. So we didn't do a ton. We ran in the Monster Dash 5K on Saturday morning. That is a local 5K where everyone shows up costumed. I don't know what it is about this run. 5K is totally my distance. I walk and jog a little bit. I can do it fairly quickly. It's nice. This running in this weather is generally pretty lovely. It was about 50 degrees and chilly. The rain held off until we finished. So it wasn't wet. I could be comfortable. I could look at all the costumes and have fun, and it was just kind of a great way to start the day. It also starts, because it's in the fall, it starts an hour later than some of the others. So rather than being up and ready to go and run at 7, we started at 8, which means I can sleep until 6, which is nice. I know that's not really sleeping in, but compared to some of the races, it is. Anyway, so we did that, and then we showered up and went out and found a new coffee place, which was lovely. I had a pumpkin spice latte, which is perfect for the season. I don't normally drink those, but every once in a while they are nice, and it was delicious. And then a market near us opened a new banh mi counter. Banh mi are Vietnamese sandwiches. And so we went and checked out the market. It is just an international market, so we can get lots of sauces and ingredients that you can't necessarily get at the local grocery store. And then we had sandwiches. And then in the afternoon, I came home and I sewed. I finished all the blocks for my quilt, and I am starting to lay them out and sew the blocks together in strips and rows, and so I will have something to show you fairly soon. Possibly not this coming weekend, but maybe one more weekend. We're going to be gone on Saturday of this weekend, so I may not have a chance to sew. Anyway, and then yesterday I sewed a little bit more and did chores and got some knitting and all kinds of things done, and so I'm sort of ready to face the week this morning. I don't know, are we ever ready for Mondays? I feel like we should have a 4-3 system where we work 4 days and get 3 off. I feel like even if we worked 4 10s, I feel like that would be preferable. Anyway, today hasn't been too bad of a Monday. I have been busy at work, and then I have another project that I'm trying to do. I work in one of our guest bedrooms, or one of the bedrooms in our house that we have turned into my craft room and my office, and the closet has been a menace for the last several years, and so I'm starting to work my way through cleaning that. So to be honest, the other half of my craft room and office is an absolute mess, but I managed to pull out a few boxes and get rid of some trash and donate some things, and so I am slowly working my way through that closet to hopefully make it have a little bit more order, hold a few more things, get rid of things I don't need to hold on to anymore. I find that if I go through it every 2 to 5 years, I can get rid of more stuff. I'm a little bit less sentimental, so I am working on that, but it makes a mess before it gets better. So that is kind of where I'm at today. I have knitting to show you. I didn't bring any quilting to show you, and I have a little bit of spinning to show you. So that's where we'll go today. Of course, I am drinking tea today. I am drinking in my Hello Kitty Halloween mug. This is the one that I only bring out at this time of year, and sadly, after Halloween on Friday, I'll probably have to put it away. I might use it one more Monday, but I bought this years ago at a Barnes & Noble, and it is just a great mug. Today, I am drinking Downton Christmas tea. I know I'm not trying to rush Christmas, but I wanted something sweet and spicy, and the Downton Christmas tea is basically chai. It's tea with mulling spices. I mean, it's not chai. It is tea with mulling spices. And it is from Republic of Tea. I think you can still get it from them, even though Downton Abbey went off the air eons ago. And so I'm drinking that today with a little bit of creamer and sugar, kind of making it almost a little like a chai, a little treat for me. I was going to drink pumpkin tea today because pumpkins, Halloween, but I realized I don't have any more pumpkin tea. I must have drunk through it because it is one of my favorites. So maybe next year I'll get more. But for now, I continue to drink through what I have. So that is the tea today. So let's talk about knitting. I have two projects in process. The first is a pair of socks for my niece, Roxy. She is going to be 12 this week, actually. And so I am working on a pair of socks for her. If you have been with me for a while, you know that I just finished a pair of socks for her brother. And I had yarn from the same company. This is, okay, so this is the wrong tag, but this is Deep Dyed Yarns in the Good Juju sock base. And this one is in multiplayer, which is a little bit of a video game reference. And this one is quite different than the one last time I had. It was all neons and black. And this time it's like blues and pinks and purples, a little bit nebula looking, but it is called multiplayer. And it's interesting because in the sock, the yarn is coming across as much more muted. So I managed to get through quite a bit of this sock. I'm partway through the foot. I didn't finish the first sock, but I do have quite a bit of it done. So I chose a different pattern for this one. This one is called Wishing You Were Here. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and I have knit it before. And so I will link to it. I will at least put the name in the show notes. I think it's only a free download on Ravelry, but I'll have to double check. But it was already in my saved patterns, which is why I went with it. Basically, it just has one kind of lace panel, very simple lace panel. It's a little hard to see because the yarn is so variegated, but it does break it up a little bit so you can see that it's not pooling. But it is just a little bit of a, let's see if I put my fingers in here, if I'll be able to show you. This is very awkward, but a little bit of a lace panel here. Maybe you can see that. So it's just down one side, and then on the opposite sock, it will be down the other side. So I just have it, this is where I have it. It's just kind of just off center and down one side. And I decided to keep it going on the foot. So I am still doing that. So as you can see, I basically worked the sock and then I worked a slip stitch, heel flap, and gusset. And I have finished my gusset decreases. And now I am into the foot and I am just working on it. I probably have another a little less than half repeat to go. This looks like about 4 inches and I probably need about 7.5. And so I am continuing to work on that for her. And then I will work on her second sock and they will be done. These are going to be a holiday gift, but my family exchanges holiday gifts at Thanksgiving. And so I need to have these done before Thanksgiving. But I have been working with very much enough time and I've been putting effort into these each night. So I'm sure that I will have it done in time. So that is the first sock, and then I will move on to the second sock, and then I will be done. For those of you who have been with me even longer, actually, the kids opened their birthday sweaters this weekend, and both of them roughly fit. I don't know how much I talked about this on here. Back in the spring, I knit my nephew Miles a Minecraft sweater. It was a stranded pattern by a either Norwegian or Swedish knitter, and it came out really big. And I was correct. It's really big on him, and he totally loves it. And so that was amazing, and he will just grow into it. It is, he said it's really big and cozy, and he's going to wear it around the house. And it was very funny because when my sister always has them put on the sweaters and take pictures so that she can send them to me. And he had to go get all of his Minecraft toys and props so that he could be ready to take photos. And then Roxy also opened her sweater. Her birthday is not for a few days yet, but I always send the sweaters together in a package. His birthday was last week. Her birthday is this week. So I always send it somewhere in there and they open it. And hers, I had been worried would not fit her because I was worried it would be a little bit small. And it is not. It fits beautifully. Sadly, it will probably not last more than one winter because she is shooting up. I knit her the 10 to 12 size, and then I added almost 2 inches to both the length and the sleeves, and it looks like it fits perfectly right now. So she is an absolute bean sprout. I'm going to have to, she is like all torso and skinny. So she has definitely, I remember listening to people who describe kids growing, and what they do is they plump and stretch and plump and stretch. So she's definitely in a stretch phase. And so it'll be interesting to see. I will have to keep an eye on her, but her sweater is definitely not going to last next year because it's going to be way too short in the sleeves. Although I wonder if she could wear it as almost like a 3/4 sleeve. I don't know. I'll have to see. My guess is it will be too small on her, but luckily they both fit and they'll be good at least for this season. So that concludes kind of the kids knitting portion. The second project that I'm working on is a blanket made of leftovers. I bought some yarn and had it in my stash for years and have never ended up using it, and I decided to turn it into a charity blanket, and that is Cloudborn Highland DK. This was yarn from Craftsy when Craftsy first started, and even though it says it's a DK, it really feels more like a sport weight to me. I think I noted last week that it is 164 yards to 50 grams, so that makes it 328 yards, I think, for 100 grams, which really puts it squarely in the DK and almost sport range, and so that would be why it is very skinny. I have been holding it doubled with fingering weight scraps, and it is looking amazing. When I opened my bin, I had 6 skeins of this yarn, and foolishly I was thinking it was 100 grams. I really thought that I was going to get more of a blanket out of it. Really what I have figured out is that it's probably enough for about half of a blanket. And so I have been looking on Ravelry to find someone else who has some of this yarn, because of course it's years and years old. It's not produced anymore. Partially because the weight of it is so kind of nebulous to me that I was really afraid to just pull together other scraps or a different base yarn because I was afraid that there would be a difference in the gauge and the blanket would be all wonky. I know even when I'm knitting scraps, I like it to be consistent. So let me show you this. This is the Garter Rib Baby Blanket by Orange Flower. It is a free pattern for download on her site. It's also on Ravelry, but it's also available on her site. That is what I have linked to in the show notes. And this is what I am working on right now. And so as you can see, the main color that I'm holding is the orange, and then I'm holding it with fingering weight scraps in all different colors. So this is just turning into kind of a rainbow blanket, and I could not be more pleased with it. I am almost done with the 5th skein, which means I am almost ready to start the 6th skein. And I would have actually wound it and kept going, but for how I ended up solving this problem. So originally I went looking for this yarn on Ravelry, and I found not one, but 2 people who had large quantities of it on DStash. This was probably $6 to $7 a skein when I bought it. They had it on DStash for $4 or $5 a skein. I inquired with both of them. I waited more than 2 weeks, and neither of them got back to me. Sad trombone. Wah, wah. Anyway, I was still looking for other ways to potentially finish this, so I looked at people who had other colors in their stash, and this week I actually found someone who was willing to sell me 6 skeins, and it is, I can't tell, it's called something heather, and it's not a word that I really like. It's a word that I know, but it's not a word that translates to a specific color, so I can't remember what it's called. I will tell you when it comes. It looks to be either a green, a gray, or a brown. It's kind of like a mushroom color, and I can't really tell which exactly it falls into. So my plan is to wait for it to get here before I start the 6th skein, so that I can do 1 skein of the new, 1 skein of the orange, and then continue so that it will more or less be a half and half blanket with a little overlap. So that is my plan now, and I can plan to continue to work on this. I am almost out of, these were all Zen Yarn Garden scraps. And so it is also all the same weight yarn, and I'm almost out of that, so I'm trying to figure out what I am going to do for the second half of the blanket. It's not that I don't have fingering weight scraps, it's just that I'm trying to keep things consistent, but I am working on that now. Just so you know, I'm knitting this, I believe, on either US 8s or 9s. I think it's 9s, and like I said, I'm holding it double-stranded, and the blanket is coming out beautifully. So this is what I've got so far, and by the time I get through 6 skeins, I'll probably have about half a blanket. I was going for 40 inches wide, and I'm not really sure where I'm at. I guess I could measure that right now, couldn't I? Let's see what happens. I was going for approximately 40 inches wide. I tried to calculate it based on what I thought the gauge would be, and then I was going to try and make it 40 inches tall too, but let's see where we're at. So we are at, I know this makes for really exciting TV, doesn't it? Super exciting TV. So I am at way wider. I'm at almost 60, it looks like. So maybe I'm going to do this sideways when I send it off, because it's going to be wider than it is long. And then what am I at in terms of length at this point? Let's see. So totally erred in my math, but it's still going to be a big squishy blanket. So it looks like I am about, oh my God, almost 30? Really? No. No, did I stretch this wrong? I guess we'll find out. No, I'm not. I'm at about, well, actually I am. I'm at about 28 or 29. So I think this is going to end up being about 60 by 60 or maybe 60 by 64. It's going to be a great lap size Afghan, and then I will wash it and put it in my charity pile. I have started I knit for a variety of charities throughout the year, but what I have started to do is starting when I started quilting a couple years ago, I basically found that every few months, sadly, there would be some kind of a natural disaster and they would be taking donations for quilts and blankets. And so I have just started making quilts and blankets when I want to make them and folding them up and putting them in a pile. And then as soon as I see a call for somewhere where they're needed, I go ahead and send them. So again, I don't know when this will be gifted, but it will get those 6 skeins out of my stash plus the comparable amount of fingering weight scraps. And like I said, it's going to be a fun, beautiful blanket, and then I will send it off to live wherever it is most needed. So that is the other project on my needles. This one will probably do, not exactly a timeout, but it will probably see less work over the next month, because Saturday is November 1st and it is time for NaKniSweMo. So last week I talked a little bit about NaKniSweMo, which is National Knit a Sweater Month. I'm not going to go into the details here. I have a variety of posts on the blog. You can look it up if you would like to. There's also a group on Ravelry if you would like to join us. It was not my group. I did not start it, even though I am currently the moderator and I kind of run it. But you are more than welcome to join us if you want. Basically knit a sweater in November, and I decided I wanted to knit a sweater. The sweater that I'm knitting is called 6 Crooked Highways, and it is by Kristen Jansuk, who goes by, I think it's Janisuk, who goes by Media Peruana on Instagram. And it is a pretty plain sweater that has some cabling on it, and the cables kind of go up and down in kind of arrow or chevron bits. And I went ahead and I pulled some really cherished yarn out of the stash. It is yarn that I bought several years ago at Stitches United. It is from the dyer Cozy Colorworks, who is online. I went ahead and linked their website in my last show notes, and I will link it again here. But this is the colorway Northern Lights. So it is gray, and then it's got kind of purpley pinky, and then kind of some bright yellowy green. And I did wonder if it was going to be too much to distract from the cabling, but I don't think it does. What I have done is played with my swatch this week, and to be fair, I haven't even measured this swatch, but I really like the gauge I'm getting, so I'm probably going to use that and figure it out. This is what it looks like. So as you can see, they go kind of up in a point and down in a point. I know it's a little bit hard to see, but that is kind of what it looks like in the swatch. And actually, even in the pattern, it has several rows of stockinette in between the columns of stitches. So I actually just basically knit a repeat of the chart. There are a few more plain rows below and plain rows above, but this is basically one repeat of the chart. And then I just added some garter bands around it and laid it out flat last night. And I do think that it takes a little bit away from the pattern. Like, I don't know how evident it's going to be from real far away, but I actually do really like it, and I think it's going to be lovely. I'm very excited about this, and I can't wait to cast on. So I do need to measure and figure out what that means I'm knitting in terms of size, and then I will more or less be ready to cast on this weekend when it's time. So this sweater is worked from the bottom up, and I don't believe there's a lot of shaping, although it is a paid for pattern, so I'm not going to reveal any more. But I believe basically what I can do is it's worked in the round from the bottom up, and then it's split for the front and back up at the armholes. So basically I'm just going to be knitting a tube for a big tube, but a tube for a long time, and that should be pretty easy in terms of setting up and establishing the pattern, and then not needing to refer to it all the time. So I'm really excited about this. I haven't been excited about casting on in a project in a little while. I think since I did the Hiss and Vinegar, this yarn, I've been waiting for the right sweater and waiting for the right moment, and almost all of my November knitting obligations are already done because I just have to finish those socks. And so I feel like I can really just relax and knit a sweater this month. And I don't remember the last time I only had like one work in progress. I mean, I'll have quilts, I'll have other things, I'll probably pick up some other things, but I don't remember the last time I really just got to enjoy myself and knit for myself and spend November just working on a sweater. So I'm very excited for that. The eagle-eyed or good memoried of you know that I actually have a few sweaters in stasis, including last year's NaKniSweMo that I did not finish and then stopped knitting and then put aside to because it's not fitting right, and I was going to need to probably pull back and redo a bunch of it. I am going to knit a new sweater in November because that is what I want to do and that is what's going to make me happy. But just so you know, I am not forgetting, I have 2 sweaters that are currently in purgatory, and I will be tackling those after the first of the year. For the last few years now, in February, I have done a fix it, finish it, or frog it February, which is basically exactly what it sounds like. Find something that you needed to make a change on so that you'll wear it and fix it. Find something that you got stalled on and finish it. Or if it's not working for you, go ahead and frog that baby and return it to yarn. And every year I find a few projects to sort of fix, finish, or frog, and it keeps me honest. It gets me my needles back. It kind of makes me feel better about not having a million projects in process that I'm not really working on, because the truth is, if I'm not really working on it, there's probably a reason why. I probably got frustrated or I did something wrong, and I just need to, you know, either fix it and get it out or rip it so that I can go back to the drawing board. Anyway, so I will tell you, new sweater in November. Not sure what I'll do in December. I don't know that I'll finish my sweater in November. I don't know that my arm will allow me to do that with my knitting. So my plan is just to keep knitting and work as much as I can and get as far as I can, and hopefully I'll have a new sweater by the end of the year. I also would love to finish this blanket by the end of the year. So I think those are the 2 things that will be highly on my list. I will likely cast on a pair of Christmas socks or do a Christmas Eve cast on to finish the socks sort of after the first of the year. And then I don't know. I haven't decided. Like I said, I have a couple sweaters that are in purgatory and I'm not sure what's next. And that's okay. I'm kind of enjoying the freedom to not know that. So I have a bunch of quilting things in progress. I have the quilt top that I'm working on. I also have the next set of blocks in, I have month 2 in the Fireworks finale quilt along, and that's going to be a doozy. The video comes out on Saturday. I will not get to it this weekend because we will be out of town at my husband's family potluck Thanksgiving on Saturday. So I probably won't get to that until the weekends after. And this month is a heck of a lot of pinwheels, and so I will have a lot of sewing to do. It will probably take me several weekends to get most of what it is done. And so I don't know how many more quilts I will really get to before the end of the year. I also joined some block challenges and a mini quilt swap for the beginning of the year. So that should keep me busy through the end of the year and into next year. So the last thing that I will talk about is spinning. I actually finished spinning the singles on the fiber that I showed you last week. This is a vintage braid from a friend. It is Cloud Lover. It is in the colorway Hibiscus in the Superwash Merino. This is 4 ounces and it is in pinks and purples. And I am about to get this on the wheel so that I can ply it. I will get it plied this week, and then it will be likely up in the shop unless I may offer it to the friend who sent me the fiber first and see if she wants it. And if not, then it will go up in the shop. I do feel like I should send her a little something because she sent me a whole bunch of fiber. So again, this is just 2-ply and spun really lovely and superwash merino, so it would actually be perfect for socks and because it won't felt as much, and just really a lovely fiber. For the next one, I ended up going pale. I have my friend who decided to stop spinning sent me a bunch of fiber. I went to a fiber retreat earlier this year and I have a billion braids of fiber, and then also I just have what I've been buying all year, and I have decided no more fiber, so I am working through what I have. And this is a braid that I got from Treasure Goddess. I got this at her silk retreat because it is a Polworth and Tussa silk blend in 8515, and she did this in lavenders and blue, and you can see that like the silk took the dye differently, so it looks quite different. And so my goal is to spin this one up next. It will definitely be going in my shop. It is lovely. I almost thought about whether or not I should ply these two together, but I decided I'd rather keep this one unto itself, especially since this one is Polworth silk and that one is superwash merino. And not that I couldn't put them together, but I would like to keep that one superwash because it could be useful for other things. So this is my next one on the on the wheel, and that will probably happen this week. I don't know if I'll have a whole bobbin to show you next week, but since I figured I would dig into this week, I thought I would show you. I have my next couple spins picked out, so my plan is to keep the wheel going for a while and see what I can come up with. So I think that's it for me now. I covered my knitting, spinning, and sewing, and I think that's all I have for you this week. The next several weeks will be busy, but I should be fine to do a podcast next week. So I hope that you are doing well. I hope that you are having a good week. And until I see you next time, I will say happy spinning, happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye.